Hello everyone, this is Gwydion, and today's video is going to walk through character creation for Delve 2nd Edition. For those of you that haven't seen my first video, please watch that one first. This is intended to give you a walkthrough on how to create a character for Delve 2nd Edition, but my first video kind of walks through what Delve 2nd Edition is, and it's a cool, I would call it a rules light role-playing game that the author Feral Gamers Inc. was kind enough to let me convert into Fantasy Grounds using Morecore for free. So it's out on the Fantasy Grounds forums. I will post a link in this video, but I just wanted to show you how to create a character and what that looks like. So if you load up the module in Morecore, and if you open up your library, to begin with, just so that we have a character sheet ready, I do have one basic pre-generated character. So if you open the library module and you click on pre-generated characters, it'll pop up right here. And you can just click on the plus sign, or you can go through character selection, upload, and you'll see it there. So either way, and then click on the plus sign, you can see it says added to the campaign. And now you have a general character. So we'll keep this for now. I'm going to close out these screens. So the way Delve starts out, it's almost like a level 0 character creation. So where you're not really, I guess in my view at least, you're kind of not starting at level 1. I think technically you do, but you wake up shipwrecked on a beach and you're kind of looking around. You see some other people, which will most likely ultimately be your party members. But you kind of look around the beach, so I'll let you kind of read through that on your own. And then you begin your search. And how do you search when you're on your beach? You kind of search your pockets and figure out what do you have in them. So there's a search pocket table, and you roll 3 times and see what you find. So in this case, I've got a piece of cloth, 5 silver coins, and a pebble. Interesting. Not sure what I can do with that, but you and your DM can determine kind of what you can do with these things. So you can drag them on. They're just basic descriptions that I included. Actually, silver coin pops into currency, which is cool. And then a pebble. So that's kind of all I start with. Moving on next, who are you? Now, I will tell you just for a second, this basically describes your attributes. There's a quick creator and advanced creator. We're going to go through advanced creator just so I can show you the entire process. But you start with your attributes, and this is a D100 system, so I'll explain that in a second. But your attributes are dexterity, obvious, endurance, pretty obvious, strength and stamina, learning, which is kind of a mix of intelligence and wisdom, so they've kind of condensed those two into one. Vitality, it uses to, you base your hit points off of that, which you'll see in a few minutes. And then empathy, which is kind of a compassion charisma. Of course, you can tell they spell out Delve, which is pretty cool. All right, the way I've set this up, or at least I want to set it up, is you start with a base attribute of 10, and then you can increase any attributes up to and no more than 15, but you get 10 points. I'm just going to I know this says magic points, but in character creation, I'm just going to put 10 points here so I know how many I've used. I have included all the attributes in the base character at 30, because what you do is you take your base attribute ultimately times 3 to get to a percentage number, again, D100 system. So if I increase dex to 13, then I multiply 13 times 3, and then 39 is ultimately what I would put in my attribute number. So I already know I'm going to be a magic user, so I know, you can laugh at me. I'm going to say Gandalf, the magic user, the mage, Gandalf the mage. So what I'm going to do is I know I want learning, I assume is going to be a big stat for me. So I'm going to take 5 points in learning. So I'm going to click off 5 points, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've got 5 left. And I'm going to say, so learning will go from 10 to 15. 15 times 3 is 45 in learning. I want to be a faster mage, and I know that's going to kind of help me with, I think, my ranged attacks, I think. So let's do, 3 points here. So that will go from, let's see, 10 to 13. Well, just like he says here, 10 to 13. What I want to do, yeah, we'll go 10 to 13. So 13 times 3 is 39. And then, so that'll be 3 points. And then I'm going to go maybe endurance, just one, or I guess I can do 2 more points. Is that right? I did 5, 3. We'll do 2 points and endurance. So that's 12 times 3 is 36. Do I have that all right? Sounds right. Oop. I'll take that down to 0. I've used them all. I think that's right. Looks right, but you get the idea. If I screwed that up, you get the idea of what should happen. So I've got most in my learning stat. I've got dex pretty high. Oh, endurance, it did not update. So I said 12. So 12 times 3 is 36. I had it up in my, so there we go. And the other 2, vitality and empathy, are going to stay at my base level. I'll explain what these are. These are just notes, but these relate to skills. All right. So this is the quick creator. So if you didn't use the advance, then you can go through this entire step, soup to nuts. So start with your race, roll for your attributes. In this case, you multiply by 5 to get your percentage. Derive stats, it explains what gear you have, and then your personality, look and feel, etc. But we're going to keep going with the advanced creator. So we've done our abilities, and now the second step is to pick a race. So let's open the races. I've cheated, so rather than go through each of these, I'm just going to pop into an elf. But you can look at all of these, and you'll see a summary if you kind of want to look and see what stats you would want. So, but I'm going to use an elf. So let's go back to the notes tab and go to race and say elf. I'm going to do male. I don't know what ages. I'm going to say 25. I think it tells you a little bit. Elves are generally around 5'10", so let's just make it simple. We'll say 5'10". And weight, I don't know, they're slender, 145. Okay. So you can choose one of the following traits: night vision, balance, and animal friend. I'm going to go for the night vision. I've always been a fan. So if you click on your abilities tab, I have all the abilities. They call them traits. I just kept them as abilities. So elven abilities, maybe go to your abilities tab if you want. I'm going to get rid of this. Just kind of had that as a placeholder to show people that you could drag and drop. So we'll do elven night vision just as an ability here. Let's see. Yep. The one thing you can do, I didn't create a lot of effects. I will show you. I do have some created, and I do have some that I'll drag on later. But if you wanted to, you could say elven trait night vision, and you could make that a 0. And let's go ahead and let's put a picture up. Mauricio. Let's do Rob Toohey. A lot of you know Rob. Okay, pull that in there. And then, so if you want to have night vision and find it, I guess I did have some night vision there already, but we'll just say elven trait night vision. So that way you at least have a note on your character sheet. So we've got that. Nothing else to do there. You could roll on a deformity. So if I wanted to, I could roll and say, hey, this one has some missing fingers. The final 2 things you get is a racial enemy. So race enemy, I do believe I had, there we go. So again, you can drag that on if you just want to keep track of it. But I did put an effect because that does 1d6 damage. I believe I did a race enemy here. So let's find Elven. So again, you can drag that on. It's just a note, doesn't do anything, but it says orcs and goblins. It's a good little visual reminder for me. And I did create a role. So let's go to, at least I think I did, abilities, race enemy, Elven. So these attack rolls, I'll show you later when we actually create them. But for now, let's take off the iron damage. I already drug this on, but if I cleared this out, here are the rolls. You can roll this on here or drag it on there. And then you see race enemy Elven, 1d6 damage. So we'll go through. I'll show you how that attack works. All right. So that looks like I'm pretty good. My languages. So I could put here common, Elvish. And then you can add something to your appearance if you want. But that's that. So let's go back to the creator. So the race is done, a little background info. So now magic and equipment. So let's go to class. I know I'm going to be a magic user, and I know I want to be a mage. So if you want, you could put class mage, and let's see what we get. So I get the following skills at trained: arcane, casting, meditation, and any 2 general skills. So this is the kind of the continuum of skills. Every skill that relates to any class or general, the way I understand it, you can try it, but you're untrained at it. So it's a -20. And they're all based on your attribute scores. So you'll see that as we look at each of these. But then you can be known, which will give you a +5, trained +10, expert +15, and master +20. So I created untrained skills for everything, just so you had a generic. If you wanted to try something, but you don't have the skill drug on, since there are many skills, I just created kind of a dexterity generic U for untrained. So here's how this works before we drag these skills on. So dexterity untrained. There's a roll in Morecore that says roll under 1D, and I created this 1D100 times 10. The reason I use 10 is, in general, if I didn't bump my stats, so my base stat for vitality is 10 because I didn't bump it, times 3 is 30. 30 minus 20 is 10. So that would be the score I need to roll under. So for dexterity, since I have a 39 minus 20, if I'm untrained in something, I needed to get a 19. So go into the param formula, not the dice string, and right after the X, update that to whatever those numbers are for you. So in mine, it's 19. Empathy would be, so that still shows as a 10. So in that case, it is 30 minus 20 is 10. That's right. Endurance, 36 minus 20 is 16. So this is pretty easy. It's all there for you. And then learning is 45. So 45 minus 20 is 25. And then finally, vitality. Again, these are just for your untrained. So vitality is 10 as well. So the way this works, let's just do a learning. Let's just say I have a learning skill that I have to roll for that I'm untrained in. So I rolled a 25. My target is a 25. That's a success. See if I can get a failure. Let's do dex, or no, let's do vitality because that's really low. Okay, so I rolled a 30. I needed to roll a 10, so that is not a success, so 0 success. So I use that roll for all my skill rolls. I think it works pretty well. So now let's go into our skills. So I do have them in abilities. So if you want to drag them on, you can go to mage abilities. Sorry, mage skills. Yeah, let's do skills first. So you get all 3 of these. So you can drag them on. These are just descriptions, notes. But I do have roles. So let's go to the roles. Now these, I just have all skills together. Maybe over time I'll create those and put them in the right buckets, but I do have the explanation right here. So arcane is a mage. So drag that on. Arcane casting is a mage. And there's one more, meditation. So you'll see these populated, these boxes. That's just how I set these up. It kind of triggers me that I need to do something with these, but what it is, all it is you can add modifiers physically in these boxes if you want. But what I do is it just gives me a little visual cue that I need to update this formula. I haven't touched it yet. So again, for this one, this is based on learning. So I start with 45. You know I'm trained, so that's plus 10. So 45 plus 10. So my target is 55. And then I'll just tick these off to get rid of them because I don't really need them. And then I know I can go to casting, which is the same. Learning, 45 plus 10 is 55. And those keys off. Oh no, I'm done. And then meditation is based on vitality. So that is 30 plus 10 is 40. Oh, X40. All right. And I get 2 general skills. So the interesting thing about general skills, let's just go to them. So here are your general skills. And I'm going to get 2 at trained and then 3 skills, either general or class-based. And they can be any class-based, as I understand it, at known. So known, you get 5 additional, so plus 5. Trained is plus 10. So in my case, so fight is what you use for melee and unarmed combat. Ranged is for, like bows and ranged attacks. So I am going to, see, I put those in abilities. I'm going to go ahead and do ranged just so I can at least have some ability to attack. So that's going to be one of my trained. And I'm going to do awareness, which is more like a perception stat. So then again, I go to my roles. I just realized I didn't, even though I did update these, I didn't tick these off. You can leave them. It doesn't do anything. It just clutters up the box there. So I'm going to do awareness and ranged. And again, you kind of get this by now. We'll do this just to close this out. But those are also at trained. So I'm going to say that's empathy. So that's 30 plus 10 is 40. And I'll tick these off so they don't clutter up my screen. And then ranged. Actually, what I think I'm going to do there, I put it in skills, but that is going to be your main attack. So what I would do, so that's based on dexterity, 39 plus 10 is 49. Tick these off. So really, keep it down there. Because that is going to be your main attack. For me, at least. Other than casting. And should probably do casting there, too, now that I say that. Let's do that. And, okay. So then I get 3 general or class-based at known. So literally, they can be anything. In my mind, I don't know. I'm just going to throw a couple on here. We'll do general, we'll do search, and we'll do stealth. Oh, shoot. I didn't drag these from roles. Search and stealth. I need to drag them from the roles. Search, stealth. Okay. And by now you know how to update those, the same idea, but this time it would be based on the 5 known points. So I'm not going to do the last one. You get it. So let's go on to the next thing. Special abilities. One of the following 3. Detect magic, create scroll, that's interesting, or tricks. And I've got these, I should have these in mage skills, or mage abilities, I should say. So we'll just say, I don't know, create scroll. And again, you can put that on here as a note. All right. Other mage bonuses, 1d10 for magic points. Actually, I did not populate my magic points. If you remember, for the elven race, 8 magic points. So let's go through. I think I didn't do those, did I? Kind of jumped ahead. So let's go back and do these. I get plus 10 for my stats. So that's interesting. I did not do that. So that should bump my dexterity to 49. So we will have to update. That's my mistake. We will have to update these because anytime you change these, you have to update these. So untrained would be 49 minus 20 is 29. That's pretty good. And anything else? Stealth is dexterity based. I would update that. Anything else? Okay, looks like that's my only, oh no, ranged. I knew there was something else. So this one was trained. So with trained, it would be 49 plus 10 is 59. That's pretty cool. Pretty good. All right. So hit points, I get to do my vitality base, which is not this number, but again, I started with 10. I didn't bump it. So 10 times 2 is 20. encumbrance, and actually PT is 0. That's protection. So that's going to be based on whatever armor we select. Encumbrance. So if you want to track encumbrance, you can make a note on your character sheet, but it would basically be your endurance base. So for me, it was 12, because I bumped it 2. So 12 times 2 is 24. Magic points, we'll put magic points 8 up here. Pace, just your speed. So if you want to say, pace 30 feet. All right. Sorry, I backtracked on that. I don't know how I missed that. I got excited. So, all right. So magic points, that's going to be based on kind of like your mana. Okay. So let me go back to my magic user and see what else I missed. That's what I was trying to get to. So, okay. So we were down here, magic points. Let's roll a D10. Of course, I get a 1. So I start with 9. So I get to add 1 to my magic points, and then I get to add D6 to my hit points. Well, at least that bumped it. So I get to add 6, so I get 26 hit points. Level 1 spells, leveling up spells per level. So, I mean, you do start at level 1. I know I said it was kind of 0, but feels like you don't get a lot of starting equipment. So we'll put level 1, 0 experience. I do get 1 level 1 spell. So let's look at that. Spells should be in abilities, mage spells. So you can find them here. And then I believe, let's look. I think that's going to be all we have to do. So yeah, let's just look at the spells here. I know I have another section on spells in here, but you can look at all your spells. You can look at them by level. Let's just flip quickly to the witch, the blacksmith, weapons. We'll go through that in a minute. Mages Guild. Okay, this is what I was looking for. So it's an easy way to look. I know I get all my first level spells, but in this case, I can only use mage spells. So I get alarm, control moisture. I think most of these detect. I think most of them cross over. Leaf fall, levitate, and those are all in mage spells. So I do think you can get all of these as a mage. So what about Sting? Is Sting a level 1 mage? You have some witch spells if I was in a witch. I think there are a little bit different. Yeah, these are different. Okay, those are definitely mage spells. So you can look at all these. I get 1. So I think I'm going to go with, what else? Missile. So you can drag that on if you just kind of want to have data. We'll do missile. You can use this section. I kind of put spells on the main tab, so I put a rolls here, a roll for it. So let's get to mage spells. And shoot, I did not do missile. I'm surprised. So I'm going to have to, might be something I have to add. Let's take something that I've already created. And so I will go back and create some rolls for this. I'm surprised missile I did not. They do D6. I could create that. Let's do it. Let's just do it here, and I will add that to my next update. So we will say missile, and we'll enable the dice formula. And I know it's damage DR 1d6. DR means, I think, damage reduction. What that means is it'll look at the armor and it'll reduce it by that amount. One thing I've noticed is this roll doesn't change unless if I tab all the way back through this, then it changes to an actual damage roll, which is kind of cool. So if you ever notice that this hasn't changed, you can just kind of tab and it'll do it. All right. So we'll do that missile, drag it on here, and we're good to go. All right. So the only thing we have not done yet, I believe, is searching the beach. So we already searched our pockets, but now we get to search the beach. And you roll a D100 3 times. And then again, you can exchange with your party members. So in theory, you don't get until you get through kind of your first mini adventure. So you get a chair leg. Oh, I got a short sword. Not that he can do much with it. And then flint and steel. So, so those are the things that I've found. You don't technically get to pick your weapons yet. You kind of have a mini. If you look at this into the caves section, there's a whole description where the author kind of takes a party through the cave to show you how things work, which is pretty neat. I'm not going to go through that, but you can go through. You go through this, go through a little. He shows you a little mini adventure. So I think as a GM, I would craft an adventure like this for a starting party. And once you go through that, you kind of come out to the official island of Cragbaron. You meet a guy there who talks to you a little bit about what is on the island. And he kind of encourages you to go to Wreckhaven. And once you go here, you do eventually find a place where you can do some trading in Wreckhaven is a small town. And then you do get a melee weapons table. You can buy some things and that type of thing. I'm going to show you, assuming you kind of go through that, I want to show you how combat works briefly. So I'm going to say, let's just say this guy we'll say he gets a short bow. So I'm going to include that on my rolls. So again, I'll show you briefly. I already populated an Ankeg in here. So I think that's the last thing that I'll show you is how this works, and then this should be done for today. So attack rolls. I'll clear this out so I can show you. So in this case, let's just say I do a ranged attack. And the way I will do that is literally I just click on roll. So let's go ahead and we'll target Gandalf. If we wanted to do initiative, so you'll see I do have an initiative roll here. So I can roll. Your initiative is a 1d10 plus whatever the first number is in your dexterity score. So I would crack this open. I have a +3, which would be a base if I left it at 10 times 3 of 30. So mine is actually, I should have gone up to 50 because that would have been a big difference. That's interesting to note. Okay. So now it's a 1d10. So I rolled, it's 8 plus 4 is 12. You see it's already populated. And if I want to start the round, there you go. And then when I pulled the Ankeg on, he already got an order. I do have the NPC set up, and I'll show you that. So let's target the Ankeg. And because I have effects in here, you can't see it as well as normally you would. Let's get rid of that just so you can see it, hopefully. Yeah, maybe it's not going to show me. I'll just get rid of all the effects to make this. Oh, there we go. Targets Ankeg. Okay. So the way it works is the Ankeg, if you open him up, and I've got all their roles and everything, I'll do that in another video maybe, but you do see he has his fight rolls here, he has his scores, and his defense or PT, which is protection, is 8. So you'll see that up here, PT 8. Okay. So we start with, do I hit with my attack? So I'm going to do a ranged attack. So in this case, my target is 59. I did a 46. I hit. So then I go to the short bow damage. So I'll show you what that looks like. So click on damage. So in my case, and Ankeg might be too hard a monster for me, but I rolled a 5. You can see the damage is 0, and that's because his PT is 8. So it's subtracting 5 minus 8 to get to 0. Now, what's the possible short bow damage is 1d8. So in this case, I'm not going to be able to hurt it. But let's just say that was 2. I'll just physically change that here, and then let's roll the short bow damage. See how he has 0 wounds? Roll the short bow damage. 6. So 6 minus 2, he did 4. So, a little bit of automation. It's pretty cool. Same thing, you would do a casting, and I won't go through. You can read the rules. There's rules on fumbles. What happens if you don't, if you fumble when you cast. I'll let you go through all of those rules. But again, everything is right here, easy to roll on. Spells, pretty similar. You have your magic missile spell that we created. I do have, as you saw, a lot of the spells. For some reason, I missed missile, but you can see a lot of the spells are coded. I'll work on coding those out some more as I keep proofing this module. I guess the last thing I will show you before we wrap is the NPCs. So all of your monsters are in here, and I've got all of the tokens in here. So all the scores, you'll see any of the weapon attacks they have, fight if they have any special sneak ability. There's notes in here that talk about what they are. This is a ratling if you want to share it with your players. Artwork is pretty cool. And that's it. I don't know if I missed anything. One thing I would say about gameplay, there is a modifier button. So if you do have some things, and you'll see this when you read the rules, there's different modifiers for environments, or if you want to make something harder or easier, you can use these modifiers. It'll populate, and then you can roll. So guys, that's it. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you play it and give me any feedback. Until next time, I hope to see you around the Fantasy Grounds forums, and happy gaming all.